but Lucas Moura returning to the starting lineup. So the Tottenham team, Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer and Davis. Eric Dyer against the club where it started for him. Doherty, Bentancur, Højbjerg and Perisic, Moura, Kane and Son. The referee is the Dutchman, Danny Makely, one of the most experienced around. He blows his whistle, and this Champions League group match, match day 5, begins here in North London with Tottenham in the all-white kit tonight, playing from right to left, playing the ball up towards Harry Kane, but they lose possession, and it is Sporting who played out from the back. A mainly black kit with fluorescent green markings, green numbers on the backs of their shirts as well, and they've got the ball deep inside their own penalty area. They have Antonio Adan in goal. 3 central defenders are Inacio, Coates and Mateus Reis, and then Pedro Porro on the left, former Manchester City youngster. Nuno Santos on the left, the Japanese Morita and Ugarte are the 2 central midfielders, and then Marcus Edwards. What a night for him. Marcus Edwards, the former Tottenham youngster, back here to play in this stadium for the first time. Did play once for Spurs as a substitute in the League Cup, but that was at the old White Hart Lane. So he is in the starting lineup for Sporting. Trincao on the left, who was at Wolves last season, and Paulinho, the big man through the middle, the number 20, who actually scored the opening goal in Lisbon when these sides met earlier on in the group. So it is Tottenham in possession. They're underway as well in Amsterdam. Ajax against Liverpool, very early stages there. As here, it is 0-0, but we will keep you up to date with that during the course of the evening, and also Napoli's game against Rangers, which is being played down in the south of Italy. So a throw-in on the halfway line, which will be taken by Pedro Porro. As I say, had a spell at Manchester City. They do have a buy-back clause. He's the right wing-back, takes the throw. Now it's back into the back line, and Lucas Moura trying to put Mateus Reis under pressure, but he's able to deal with that, turns a full 360 degrees, and Sporting have the ball at the back. Sporting, who lost those 2 matches to Marseille, but they won their first 2 games in the group. A very impressive victory against Eintracht Frankfurt in the opening match in Germany. And Sporting have the ball with Coates in central defence. Just puts his foot on it, taps it to his left, and then across the back line it goes. And here is Pedro Porro again on the right. He's up against Perisic, flicks it forward, but flicks it straight out of play for a throw-in to Tottenham. Chris Sutton.
Yep, looking forward to this one. Lily Whites v the Green and Whites, but they're not in green and white. Sporting Lisbon, but both teams set up with the same system, 3-4-3 and 3-4-3. Spurs, they weren't clinical in Lisbon in the first game, and they paid the price for that. They'll be looking to see this one through tonight and take their opportunities.
Forward of the centre circle, Son, touch to Kane, then back to the left-hand side. Perisic is there, Son speeds out to the left. Son, who's got his white socks pulled right up over his knees tonight. Perisic, back to Davis, and then back into the centre circle to Eric Dyer, who goes for the long pass over the top, down the right, which is pulled down by Doherty, but it just got away from him at the crucial moment. It was right sort of idea from Tottenham, but Doherty just couldn't get it under control.
There's a really clever run from Doherty on that right wing, and Dyer found him. Nuno Santos, the left wing back for Lisbon, switched off. You see Doherty make those runs, likes to get his wing backs nice and high up. Antonio Conte.
Lovely pass by Dyer as well, as Kane now plays it to Lucas Moura, 25 yards out, but he's surrounded by black and green, but he's able to give it back to Højbjerg, who miscues his shot from, well, over 25 yards out, and it dribbles away behind for a goal kick to the Portuguese. Tottenham 0, Sporting 0. So what is the news on Ajax and Liverpool? Conor McNamara is monitoring that match this evening.
4 minutes played, Ajax 0, Liverpool 0, but Ajax have had a huge chance. Steven Berghuis once briefly of Watford with a right-footed shot inside the penalty area that came back off the post. A huge early let-off for Liverpool. Ajax 0, Liverpool 0.
It is Sporting with Marcus Edwards. Has the ball inside the Tottenham half, but plays it infield, and that is cut out, intercepted by Bentancur. and Tottenham then clear away from the back through Eric Dyer, and Sporting win it back. The ball is played through the middle by Morita, now out to the right hand side. Here is Marcus Edwards again, the boy from Enfield, turns, flicks it back to Pedro Porro. Lovely change of feet from him, and he's blocked by the challenge that came in on him from Christian Romero. And Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Marseille 0 is still the score in the other match in this group. If you've just switched on, the big news of the Champions League tonight is that Barcelona are already out. They cannot reach the last 16 because Inter won their earlier kickoff 4-0 against Viktoria Plzen. So Bayern Munich and Inter will be going through from that group. Free kick then after that foul by Christian Romero. So Pedro Porro to take this from the right hand side. Just steps away 4-5 yards and then comes up and strikes this in, right-footed towards the penalty spot. It's over everyone and has bounced out towards the left-hand side. Now Nuno Santos on the left flank. It's played back to the halfway line where Ugarte has it. The Uruguayan international midfielder. He gets it back. Ugarte taps it square to his countryman, Coates. Coates passes it low through the middle. Edwards with a touch. Paulinho through the middle, plays it out to the left-hand side, Nuno Santos, and then the ball is rolled down for Trincao in the full-back position, back to Nuno Santos. Nuno Santos, there's a little bit of clever footwork from him as well. Both wing-backs can do it, you know. And then back to the halfway line to Coates, who just gives a little ball to his left.
I just wondered, from the initial free kick, the ball went all the way across to Trincao, left-hand side of the box for Lisbon. And he took the ball and went backwards. I'd like to see him commit one of the Spurs defenders and try and do something. That's his job as a wide player, create opportunities, be positive in that final third.
6 minutes played. That is Chris Sutton, of course, with us on 5 Live tonight. Premier League winner, Champions League goal scorer, European finalist. And the news, Chris, in this group, we have the first goal in the group. It's been scored by bottom of the table, Eintracht Frankfurt, who are winning 1-0 against Marseille. So that would potentially propel Eintracht Frankfurt right into the picture when it comes to the final matches in this group next Tuesday night. We'll have that fully covered for you. Still 0-0 between Ajax and Liverpool. If Liverpool get a draw tonight, they'll be qualified for the last 16. Long pass from Dyer over the top through the middle. Lucas Moura chasing for it, stretching a foot, but I think he maybe got a toe end to it, but it just bounced through to goalkeeper Adam.
Yeah, Reich on that left-hand side of the defence for Sporting. Just switched off. Moura got the run on him. Good run. And Dyer found him from deep, but couldn't get his first touch right.
Sporting are playing the ball out from the back quite effectively as well. Here's Edwards on the right-hand side for the Portuguese, but a combination of Hojbjerg and Ben Davies deal with that, and the ball is played back to Lloris. And there's Ruben Amorim down there on the touchline, Chris, the bearded coach of Sporting, whose stock is extremely high for the work that he's done with Sporting. They're actually not having the best of seasons. They're down in 4th place in the Portuguese league, but he won the league the season before last extremely impressively. Won the League Cup as well. They defended the League Cup last season, won the Super Cup also, and if you can get them into the last 16 of the Champions League, then that would be a real achievement, because they've only done that twice before. Sporting. Here's Bentancur. Hojbjerg gives it back to Bentancur. Another Uruguayan out there on the field. Tried to play the ball through, but Coates threw himself at it, blocked it. It's bounced to Edwards. Edwards, nice footwork from him in the centre circle. Still going, he beat Romero. Gives it to Paulinho now on the right-hand side, but Paulinho just held it up. They've got 4 men on the edge of the box. Paulinho's left-footed cross, but that's beyond the run of Nuno Santos, who just for good measure threw himself to the ground. Knew he wasn't going to get there, but Lloris has got it safely. 0-0.
Doherty just checking Nuno Santos. But first we've seen of Marcus Edwards, lively run, drifted past Romero, had a run, didn't he, in the game in Lisbon, where Ali Bruce Ball was commentating, and he told me it was nearly like the Maradona run. Nearly.
I have seen it. I actually watched it back yesterday, and it was exciting.
Yeah, but he didn't score.
He didn't score, so that's why it was nearly. But Sporting have got the ball at the back with Matheus Reis. Long pass from him, looking for Trincao. And, oh, goodness me, Doherty's given it straight to Trincao, and Trincão's left two Tottenham men on the ground, but a good recovery, actually, in the end from the man who, with the initial error, Doherty, who came in, blocked the cross behind for a corner. Now, after what happened here for Tottenham at the weekend, they don't need any more mistakes like that.
That was a really poor pass from Doherty, straight to Trincao. Little nutmeg on the edge of the box, and the ball cut out at the near post.
That's a paper aeroplane, nearly hit the corner taker, Nuno Santos. A deep one over everyone. I don't know whether the paper aeroplane put him off, but it clears the penalty area, overhit by a distance, and bounces out, straight out for a throw-in to Tottenham in their own left-back position. Men's Champions League and Women's Champions League action tonight. Chelsea playing the Albanians, Vlasnia, and Mike Williams is there.
Vlasnia nil. That didn't take long. Inside 10 minutes, the home side have the lead, and it's gone to Sam Kerr. Lovely ball. It was lofted into the box. Found the Australian one-on-one, and she smashed it home. The Albanian underdogs have got work to do. Chelsea 1, Vlasnia nil.
Tottenham nil, Sporting nil. Still Ajax nil, Liverpool nil, Napoli nil, Rangers nil. And here is Matheus Reis passing the ball from the halfway line, but Dia's able to step across and has got it back, and he's given it away. That's a poor pass from Eric Dyer. Trincao is onto the ball, slender, little beard on the end of his chin, passes it back centrally, and then back to Inacio in the centre circle. Atletico Madrid nil, Bayer Leverkusen 1, and Atletico Madrid must win that tonight, otherwise they'll be out as well. Here's Marcus Edwards through the middle. Davis is all over him. He basically jumped on his back and conceded the foul. More on that from Chris Sutton in a moment. But Roddy Forsyth is monitoring the Napoli-Rangers match tonight. And Roddy,
Simeone has put Napoli 1 ahead on the evening. He got a cross ball. He was played fractionally onside by King. Rangers were hoping for a VAR review, but there's not going to be one, and so they've got off to the start that was predicted, but the worst start for them. Napoli 1, Rangers 0.
And Sadio Mane scored for Bayern Munich, so they're winning 1-0 against Barcelona. Bayern Munich, who've won all of their matches so far, and as I say, Barcelona can't go through now. Free kick for Sporting comes off the head of Hotspur, who's struck diagonally by Pedro Porro, and it's another corner for Sporting, Chris.
Yeah, I think Ben Davies fortunate not to see yellow. Piggybacking, wasn't he, on Marcus Edwards.
Here's the corner from the left-hand side, Nuno Santos, and it's headed, just wide by Coates, who got up there above his marker and headed it, maybe 2 or 3 feet wide of the right post.
Sporting should be ahead here. Free header, 6 yards out. And he gets up really well as a 6'5", gets above Romero and just cannot direct the header. Outswinger. The corner was from Trincao, right on the money. That's a warning sign for Tottenham.
32 years old he is now, Sebastian Coates. He picked up an injury in the first of the middle group matches against Marseille, but recovered in time for tonight. 0-0. Kane centrally passes the ball out to Perisic. Perisic goes for the early cross towards the back post. Goalkeeper Adan comes for it. Got a hand to it. It very nearly actually fell to the feet of Doherty, but the goalkeeper was just on the follow-up, able to scramble it away, and Sporting do get it away. He has had some erratic moments, Antonio Adan, the Sporting goalkeeper, not least when he was sent off against Marseille for handling the ball outside the penalty area. So he missed the previous match through suspension. Tottenham 0, Sporting 0, and Eintracht Frankfurt 1-0 up on Marseille in the other match in this group. Back to Group A, the Liverpool Rangers group, with more coming up. But first, Kane playing it through to Lucas Moura, who's in. Adan comes out, makes the save with his legs. Might have been offside. He was offside, Lucas Moura, and the flag now goes up. So even if he'd been able to put it into the net, it would have been ruled out, assuming the assistant was right, which I think he was. So more on Ajax-Liverpool from Conor McNamara.
14 minutes played, still Ajax 0, Liverpool 0. It's been an open start to the game. Berghuis has hit the post for Ajax. Liverpool have been attacking. Salah unfortunate not to put more power on his cross to Nunez. It was cut out. Ajax 0, Liverpool 0.
Tottenham 0, Sporting 0. Played almost 15 minutes. Chris, what do you think so far?
Well, I think that Sporting have had the best opportunity from the corner there. Moura just making that run too early. We know Harry Kane's so good on the half turn, and we'll see Son and Moura make those little runs in behind the Sporting back line. Pretty even, I think, at this moment.
Adan takes the free kick following the Moura offside, and it's headed back to goalkeeper Lloris at the other end by Perisic, and Tottenham start out from the back. Excellent following from the Sporting supporters. I wouldn't be surprised if many of them actually lived in London, but they are resplendent in the green and white in that corner of the ground where the Newcastle United supporters were on Sunday afternoon, as Hojbjerg wins the ball back. Might have done it illegally with an arm on Paulinho. He's gone down, play continues, referee Macaulay not interested, and Paulinho gets to his feet, and the attack comes to nothing as it's cut out on the edge of the area, but that's given away to Son, and Son's ball across has gone all the way across to Perisic, just outside the penalty area, slips it through to Kane on the left. Kane goes for goal, and the goalkeeper fumbles it wide of the near post. That could easily have hit the goalkeeper and deflected into his own net, but he was a little fortunate that he managed to get enough on it to send it round the near post for a corner.
Yeah, what a really strange passage of play. Son initially trying to find Harry Kane. Inacio should have cleared it. He has an air shot, and the ball eventually comes out to Kane left-hand side. And Adan goes down so early, it hits him on the shin and goes behind for a Tottenham corner. We saw Sporting practice defending these, didn't we, in the warm-up?
Didn't see them do that, though. Corner from the left, but Son is going to take. Right arm raised, in swinger with the right foot to the near post. It doesn't beat the first defender, who's able to head it away. Comes out to Doherty. Pass onto the chest of Son. Son, lovely touch through to Perisic on the left. Perisic waits, and then here's the cross, but was offside. Perisic when it was played to him by Son. So another free kick to Sporting. Tottenham 0, Sporting 0, and this sounds ominous, I have to say, for Rangers, because I've been told in the Napoli-Rangers match there's been another goal, Roddy Forsyth.
And it's another goal for Napoli, and it's another goal for Giovanni Simeone. The last one came from the right, this one came deep from the left, and he got between the two central defenders, King and Davis, for a header past Alan McGregor into the net. So it's now 2-0, and we've played 17 minutes. 17
minutes and 2-0 down against one of the most informed teams in Europe, the Italian league leaders. That could be a long night for Rangers. Here's Edwards on the right-hand side for Sporting. Edwards with a cross straight into Ben Davis. Hits him on the chest. He very quickly put his arms behind his back, as they do. And it's out of play for a throw-in just a little further on than level with the edge of the penalty area. Tottenham 0, Sporting 0. 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Still the score in the one match being played in League One this evening. And Sporting go all the way back towards the halfway line. Antonio Conte prowling around. He's got one of those sort of Tottenham blue zip neck sweaters on tonight. It's an exceptionally mild night for this time of the year, late October. Dry as well, good conditions. Davis walking the ball towards the halfway line, gives it to Bentancur on the left. He holds off Marcus Edwards, and then Perisic back into his own half to Davis. Spurs making 6 changes tonight. Sporting just a couple of changes from their match at the weekend against Casapia, when they came from a goal down to win 3-1. But as I say, not in the best of form by any means. They've lost 4 of their last 7 matches in League and Cup. But at the same time, Tottenham are not in the best of form, having lost their last 2. Here's Marcus Edwards. Marcus Edwards carrying the ball into Tottenham territory, and now giving it to Pedro Porro down the right-hand side. Porro swings it in right-footed. Oh, and in the middle, Paulinho arriving just outside the 6-yard box. That could, maybe should, have been 1-0 Sporting.
Yeah, I think it was the bounce just in front of Paulinho which did for him. Ben Davis has got to work harder to stop the cross, and the ball's fizzed in, and it just bounces in front of him, and he's trying to get over it with his left foot. Gets a run I think it's on Eric Dyer, gets across him. He gets that on target from that range. It's 1-0 Sporting. Warning signs for Tottenham.
Yeah, he's the big man, the 29-year-old central striker. Tottenham, though, coming forward at the other end. Perisic, step over from him, then the cross which took a deflection off the shins of Porro. Lovely ball in, by the way, from Porro at the other end. Just curled it behind the back line for Paulinho.
We used to see David Beckham do that type of cross, half a yard, and whip the ball in.
And then a few seconds later, he's in his own penalty area having to defend Perisic's cross defensively. Tottenham take a short corner this time. Son flicks it back to Bentancur, and Bentancur's cross goes through everyone in the middle. Round about the penalty spot, the challenges came in, but no one got a touch. Spurs still have it on the right-hand side with their top scorer, 11-goal Harry Kane. And now Bentancur's going to try a shot from... Well, that was between 25 and 30 yards out. He had a look of Bobby Charlton about him, the way that he hit that. He really gave it the massive wind-up and took a huge swipe at it with his right foot, and it went sailing away over the crossbar in what was certainly not Bobby Charlton style.
Yeah, more Bobby Davro, I think, with that effort, John.
Yeah,
it was awful.
Not a Bobby Dazzler, certainly. And here is Adan, who clears from his 6-yard box. I won't be making a note of that shot from Bentancur. Fouled by Eric Dyer in the centre circle. He's on the front of the match programme tonight. Eric Dyer grew up there after the family moved to Portugal. Joined Sporting as a young boy, there for years and years. Went on loan, if you remember, to Everton before actually making this move to Tottenham. Been here for 8 years now. Tottenham player for 8 years. Eric Dyer. Here's Edwards through the middle. Edwards, who made the move the other way. And now Edwards taking it on, shrugs off the challenge, hits a low shot, he scored! Super finish! What a moment that is from Marcus Edwards, the former Tottenham youngster. The boy from Enfield, who didn't make it with Spurs, but has made it with Sporting, and scores a very good goal to make it Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. What a story that is.
What a story, what a goal. Blistering pace to get away from Hojbjerg in the middle of the park, and then it just opens up. And he's, what, 22, 23 yards out, left-hand side of the box, and thinks, why not? Left-footed effort. Past Lloris into the far corner. It's a brilliant strike. Really accurate. Spurs back off. They let him shoot, and he says, I'll take a shot. Found the back of the net. And Spurs, they've got real work to do.
That's a problem for Tottenham in this Champions League group. Sporting leading by 1-0. And what a terrific story that has thrown up from Marcus Edwards. This 23-year-old, Tottenham coming forward, Perisic with a cross into the penalty area, but it's caught by Adan, who seems to have been fired up by his team taking the lead. He
doesn't need to be any more fired up.
No, I don't think he does, no. But maybe he's been fired up as well. Those green Sporting smoke bombs have gone off in their end, so there's pale green smoke billowing out of the stand over there. But what a cracking finish it was on his left foot. It was accurate more than anything else. He hit it well enough, but it was right in Lloris's bottom left-hand corner. And that's actually his first goal in 8 appearances in all competitions, so he's been on a little bit of a run. The 2 of them in the Champions League now, but that will mean the world to him, won't it? And here he is again. He must feel like $1 million now. Edwards taking the ball on down the right-hand side, but a combination of Son and Bentancur dispossess him this time. They learn from their mistakes. Standing off him as Bentancur goes down, just tripped by Ugarte, and it's a free kick to Tottenham in the central third. Well, the little run in the previous match was when he went and nearly did a Maradona. He's not a nearly man anymore after that.
Oh, absolutely. What would be worrying from Tottenham's point of view was how easily he got in behind the Tottenham midfield. Hojbjerg tried to bring him down, did everything he could, but then the Tottenham defence backed off too far, let him get the shot off, and he found the back of the net.
Marseille have equalised against Eintracht Frankfurt in this group, so that's 1-1.
So how is the group poised now, John?
Well, Sporting, if the scores stayed as they are, Sporting would go top with 9 points, and then Tottenham, Marseille and Eintracht Frankfurt would be the lineup, but it would be all up in the air going to the final matches next Tuesday, when Tottenham have to go to Marseille, which...
And he won't be able to rest the star players if it remains like this.
Tottenham at Bournemouth on Saturday, incidentally. Atletico Madrid have equalised against Bayer Leverkusen, and they have to win that tonight to stay in it, Atletico Madrid, so that is 1-1. Long ball forward for Tottenham to the edge of the area, but Pedro Porro was underneath that and headed it back to his goalkeeper Adan. So Sporting lead Tottenham here by 1-0.
And I mean, they had two really good opportunities, the one from the corner, Cortez and Paulinho, who had an effort from 6 yards, so they could be even further ahead, and Tottenham haven't threatened at all. No really good combination play in the final third. It's been comfortable for Sporting.
Sporting hit it long. Paulinho heads it back to Edwards, but it's allowed to run to Ugarte, who plays it back into his own half. So Marcus Edwards scoring the opening goal in the 22nd minute. Just to remind you, or tell you, if you don't know the story, Marcus Edwards joined the Tottenham Academy when he was only 8 years old. And the famous story, for those who don't know, is that Maurizio Pochettino did liken him to Lionel Messi just before he made his debut. Came on as a substitute against Gillingham at the old White Hart Lane, and that was it. That was as much as he appeared for the Tottenham first team in a competitive match. He picked up a nasty injury, actually, ended up going on loan to Norwich and to the Netherlands with Excelsior, but then made that move to Portugal, Victoria Guimarães, and that's where it all started happening for him. Did well last season, scored 8 goals for them, got the move to Sporting, and here he is now scoring goals in the Champions League. Hojbjerg, long pass from the halfway line towards Doherty, who takes that down nicely in his stride into the box. He's got the defender Nuno Santos with him, who blocks it out into the Sporting fans, actually, for a corner to Spurs from the right hand side. So we'll see what happens from this corner, and then we'll get an update on Ajax against Liverpool. But Perisic has gone across there to take it. Perisic taking the ball into the quadrant. Green and white flags being waved behind him in the stand. And Sporting have got 8 outfield players in the 6-yard box defending this. In it comes, and it's headed away by one of them at the near post. Comes out to Bentancur. And now Hojbjerg, right-footed ball, he was slightly off balance. And however, Perisic has been able to take it down over on the right-hand side. Plays it back centrally, Bentancur. Then to his left, to Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg back into the centre circle. Groans from the home supporters. They don't like this. Spurs had won 10 consecutive home matches in all competitions at the start of this season, at the end of last, before losing at the weekend, and you can hear they're unsettled, they don't like it. Lucas Moura, finally they begin to come forward, gives the ball out towards the right hand side. Perisic is still there, left footed ball in, but that's headed down and away by Inacio, and Sporting will play it away centrally through the middle, actually, to Trincao inside his own half. In slides Romero, but he doesn't make the tackle, and now they come forward again over the halfway line, but then check back.
There's a speed to Sporting's passing in the middle of the park, and Tottenham the complete opposite, really. It's all too slow. They look pretty clueless at this moment in time. No rhythm to the play, no patterns of play. They've had a tiny bit of success with long balls to Doherty on that right-hand side, but they haven't been able to play through Sporting. Surprised me, the start, really, from Tottenham.
Well, it has, certainly on a night where you need to win to make sure of your place in the last 16. But I have to say, it's not the first time I've seen this from them this season, whether it be here or whether it be away from home. Eintracht Frankfurt are now back in front, so Eintracht Frankfurt are winning and Sporting are winning, so the two teams that were 3rd and 4th in the group at kickoff are winning tonight. Very interesting. Here's Paulinho, plays the ball to the left-hand side. Nuno Santos is there. Nuno Santos puts his foot on the ball, drags it back, and then taps it forward. Matheus Reis has joined the attack, the left-sided central defender, and then back they go, Sporting towards the halfway line. Across the back line to Inacio. Still Sporting habit, and Coates. Spurs just sitting off them. Again, the home supporters. It's quite quiet in the home sections. That huge south stand to our right, sitting patiently, or perhaps impatiently, watching Sporting leading 1-0 and being very comfortable on the ball in possession. Coates playing it to the left-hand side. They've retreated halfway inside their own half, but I think I heard one or two boos from the home supporters there as Sporting continue to keep the ball and then win a throw-in off Lucas Moura deep inside their own half. So it is Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. So let's get another update on Ajax Liverpool from Conor McNamara.
Half hour played, Ajax 0, Liverpool 0. Salas had an attempt charged down by Alvarez, but down the other end Ajax have had 3 big chances now. Told you about Berghuis hitting the post. He had another shot just wide, and the Mexican Jorge Sanchez had an attempt on target, but it was saved by Alisson. Warning signs for Liverpool, 0-0.
Sporting coming forward again dangerously. Ball played forward for Trincao, and Trincao now centrally to the left-hand side. Edwards, then the cross from the left from Nuno Santos. That's blocked out of play by Matt Doherty. Another Sporting corner, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, Edwards and Trincao just swap sides. Trincao coming out to this right-hand side. Good interplay. And then he drove inside and the ball went out left. Edwards to Nuno Santos. And corner to Sporting.
Nuno Santos to take this. It's a deeper one towards the back post. Coates with the header, but it drops wide by probably 4 or 5 yards. Bayer Leverkusen are now back in front. Atletico Madrid 1, Bayer Leverkusen 2. So Xabi Alonso's team in front again against Atletico Madrid, who are clinging on, if that, in the Champions League. They could join Juventus and Barcelona in going out before the knockout stages. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. And they said, didn't they, that the group stages of the Champions League are far too predictable. That's why we're changing to the Swiss league system in a couple of years' time. Here's Perisic, crossfield pass to the right-hand side to Doherty. Doherty then turns it back towards Romero. And Romero finds Hojbjerg to his left. And Tottenham just not making an impact, really, on Sporting in an attacking sense. Here's Harry Kane now, gets his head down, left corner of the box, stabs the ball into the box with his right foot, but too much on it, or at least Ben Davies, who was making the run, didn't get there, and the goalkeeper was able to pick it up.
That's that's Tottenham's best hope, isn't it? Get the ball to Harry Kane and see if he can create something, get on the half turn and wait a pass into Son or Moura. I think the middle of the park, Bentancur and Hojbjerg have been really disappointing. Too many touches, too slow.
Barcelona now 2-0 down in the Nou Camp against Bayern Munich. Choupo-Moting has scored the second goal. So 2-0 to Bayern Munich, who are already safely through. One of the 9 teams that were already sure of a place in the last 16 before these matches tonight. So if the matches ended as they are now in this group, with Sporting winning and Eintracht Frankfurt winning, that would be Sporting on 9 points, then Tottenham on 7, Eintracht Frankfurt on 7, and Marseille on 6. So a long way to go still, but we've played over half an hour and Tottenham are making little impact. This is not unlike the game here against Marseille, actually, in the first match in the group, when Tottenham played here, and Marseille dominated possession, dominated the match, but didn't score, and Tottenham got the 2 late goals through Richarlison. Difference being here tonight that young Marcus Edwards has registered what is his 5th goal of the season, and so Sporting lead 1-0.
Yeah, and Antonio Conte talking about Spurs being fatigued, and coming out and saying that publicly. Maybe the Spurs players believe it.
Sporting in possession, way down below us. Marcus Edwards, that green number 10 on his back, takes the ball, gives it back into his own half. Andros Townsend is with us on 5 Live Sport as well tonight, by the way. We'll hear again from him at half-time. And after full-time, when we're on air, as usual, till 10:30 before Colin Murray takes over. And here is Sporting again in possession as Matheus Reis takes it forward on the left-hand side. The Brazilian central defender, he gets it back. Looks up, but they're in no hurry at all, Sporting. Very happy with the game, the way that it is at the moment, just knocking it around. And then Edwards receives it on the right-hand side again. In comes Son with a challenge, bounces out of play, throw into Sporting. Antonio Conte trots after the ball and goes to pick it up. Just having a little look at Antonio Conte's record in the Champions League as a coach. Brilliant record at winning the leagues, as we were talking earlier, having won leagues in 5 of his last 8 full seasons as a coach. But in the Champions League, 1 quarter-final, 1 last 16, and 3 times gone out in the group. It's not outstanding that by any means,
it's not outstanding. And I think at the start of the, when you saw Tottenham's group, at the start of the tournament, you think Tottenham would have a great chance of finishing top, the players that they have. It's all a bit flat, isn't it?
Very flat. Marcus Edwards fouls Ben Davies. Just a little foul near the halfway line. Tottenham take the free kick. And you can hear the reaction now from inside the stadium. The Spurs supporters feeling that now is the time for Spurs to take this game by the scruff of the neck, because they've been far too passive again. Hotspur back into the centre circle to Dyer. Along the halfway line to Romero. Just has that feel of going absolutely nowhere. Romero carrying the ball all the way across the central third of the field and then passing it to Perisic, who gives it back to Davies, then back to Dyer, and now Bentancur's dropped deep. Ben Davies gives it to Perisic again on the left-hand side. This is what you might call middle third football. Finally, a forward pass is overhit by Hotspur, and listen to the reaction. Boos already. Less than 10 minutes to go to half-time. And the Tottenham supporters are booing their team. And the Sporting fans are absolutely lapping it up. They are almost literally laughing at the reaction of the Tottenham supporters. So 1-0 Sporting lead. More on Ajax-Liverpool from Conor McNamara.
10 minutes to go to half-time, and Liverpool really unlucky to be still at 0-0. Another big chance for Ajax. Another really good save from Alisson. He did similar at the weekend tonight. Ryan Yates in the Nottingham Forest game. Here he spread his body well and saved it away. Ajax 0, Liverpool 0.
And that scoreline would be enough to take Liverpool through tonight. Kane to the edge of the area. Son now in the box on the left-hand side. Son picks out the shot with his right foot, but goalkeeper Adan is able to drop on it and make a routine save. But at least there's something there for the crowd to get into.
Yeah, and that was the first time I think we've seen the Sporting midfield press up really high from within their own half. Harry Kane getting on the ball, seen him do this so many times on the half turn, out left to Son, who does really well, chops inside on his right foot. It's quite a tame effort by his standards, and Adan gets down to his left hand side and grasps the ball. There he goes again, Kane curling the pass over the top, looking for Son. That was headed down and away by Coates. Comes out to Ben Davies. Ben Davies with a pass to Son. Davies couldn't take the ball on, just slightly under his feet, and that means Sporting will come forward if Edwards can keep it in. Yes, he can. Uses his pace on the right wing and now begins to cut infield on his left foot, and then just shields it from Hotspur. Takes it into the box against Dyer. Edwards with a cross, took a little deflection off Dyer, got something on it, and it bounced down, and Perisic is able to clear it away, and then there is a foul on Ben Davies, and it's a free kick to Tottenham deep inside their own half. It's been another goal in the Women's Champions League in the Chelsea-Vlasnia match. Mike Williams.
This has actually been 2 in 2 minutes here, John, on the home side. Chelsea now lead Vlasnia by 3-0. The second was scored by Sam Kerr, her second of the evening, when she bundled in Guru Wrighton's cross, and then Wrighton again the provider for the third, which has just been scored by Pernilla Harder. So the home side in cruise control here. They lead Vlasnia of Albania by 3-0.
Perisic crossing for Tottenham from the left-hand side, but showed too much of it to goalkeeper Adan. Got a good sight and was able to come and catch it well outside his 6-yard box. All is not well, Chris Sutton, at the home of Tottenham Hotspur.
No, it's not. That was a floaty cross from Perisic on the left-hand side. No real conviction or quality, and that's pretty much summed up Tottenham's first half. It's that midfield area which has been the biggest problem. We haven't got control of that. We see Sporting just play through the Tottenham midfield.
Here they come again, Sporting, playing the ball out to Pedro Porro with the cross. Blasts it straight into the back of Perisic, so it bounces back, but it bounces back to Sporting. And now Matthias Reich again, through the middle, a touch from Morita. And then through the middle to Paulinho, who turns, passes the ball to the right, Pedro Porro. It was an awkward bouncing ball, but he gets it down on the turf, and then hits the cross into the shins of Perisic, and it bounces behind for another corner to Sporting. Their fourth of the first half. Referee Makeli comes across and finds one of the blue paper aeroplanes from the mosaic, the montage before the start of the match, and just tosses it off the field. Still, they're flying down, those paper aeroplanes, and someone...
What's all that about, John?
Well, we'll discuss that in a moment. Here's the corner, which is flicked on into the near post and bundled in, but the referee's whistle has gone.
You should see yellow here, shouldn't he?
Coates used an arm to put it into the net, leaping after it. The referee spotted it, good spot, and it's a yellow card for the Sporting captain. Decidedly unsporting.
But the worry is it's a brilliant ball in, and Reich gets the initial flick, free header, and Coates attacking the ball at the back post, but uses his arm to get the ball over the line. Another warning for Tottenham. How many warnings do they need?
I mean, you can never think you're going to get away with that now, can you? Because you're not. With VAR, whatever people say about VAR, when that happens, you're not going to get away with it.
Well, you might do in Scotland, John.
That's a very, very good point. Tottenham 0, Sporting. Well, let's put it this way: when it happens as blatantly as that from Coates, you're not going to get away with it. You have your doubts. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. 5 live from the BBC Sounds as well. Remember, you can rewind the live radio if you go to the match. Rewind and listen to the commentary again. What a treat that would be. Here's Perisic on the left-hand side. Perisic playing the ball down the line. Davis on the chase. Defender comes across. Davis is in there. Pedro Porro has really caught the eye, actually, the former Manchester City youngster. Never actually played competitive match for City. Takes the ball up and actually concedes the throw. Spurs with 2.5 minutes to go to half-time. They've been second best. And there has now been an opening goal in the Ajax-Liverpool game. Conor McNamara.
And it has gone to Liverpool, who had absorbed so much pressure for the opening 41 minutes. Ajax 0, Liverpool 1. Mo Salah has given Jurgen Klopp's side the lead. Ajax will be absolutely distraught about this. They've had so many good chances in the game, but Darwin Núñez flicked it in towards Salah. Goalkeeper coming out towards him, and he was able to glide it. In fact, sorry, it was Henderson who played the ball into Salah, and then it was just as the keeper came that he scooped it over him. Lovely finish. Ajax 0, Liverpool 1.
Thank you, Conor. So Liverpool now in a much better place. A draw tonight would be enough to confirm their place in the last 16. Napoli going through as group winners. They're 2-0 up on Rangers, so the only positive for Rangers is that it's not got any worse in the Stadium Diego Armando Maradona. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1, and Spurs and Antonio Conte with lots to ponder here. They're up against it. They're up against it tonight, and they're going to be up against it in the group. So the plan is that we would be bringing a commentary from Marseille next Tuesday night from the newly refurbished, or the relatively recently refurbished Stade Velodrome. Romero heading it forward. That could be a really difficult night for Spurs, but still time left to rectify matters here if they can, but they'll have to be a lot better than they've been in the first 44 minutes of this game. Hojbjerg trying to take the ball on, claimed there was a handball against him, not given by the referee. Sporting with it inside their own half, that's given away. Lucas Moura, who's been very quiet, I must say, in the first half on his first start of the season.
He's looked off the pace, hasn't he? In truth, he hasn't looked sharp at all, but he's not the only one.
No, he's not. Here's Kane receiving it from Bentancur. Kane then holds off the challenge that comes in on him from Ugarte, goes down and wins the free kick.
That's the only time where Spurs have looked dangerous. Ball into Harry Kane, who gets in behind the Sporting midfield, uses his body brilliantly there, and Ugarte shoulder to shoulder. I think there's enough contact there for Harry Kane to go down. Long way out though, what, 30 yards?
Yeah, long way out. 1 minute of added time. If Tottenham were able to get an equaliser from this set piece and make it 1-1 at half time, I mean, they have extricated themselves from a very tricky situation. It's been a really uncomfortable first half for Spurs. 1-0 down to the Marcus Edwards goal. Hojbjerg to take this free kick, 30 yards out, given the angle, takes it square to Bentancur, and then Son slips as it was played into him just outside the penalty area, and so it's come to absolutely nothing. That is unfortunate that Son should slip, but Sporting with Paulinho turns, plays it forward, Doherty intercepts, got 20 seconds of the first half to play, maybe time for one more Tottenham attack. Doherty carrying it down the left wing, gives it to Perisic. Perisic takes a touch, then goes back centrally. Well, the whistle's going to go in a moment, unless they get it forward. Bentancur, long, that's over the top of Lucas Moura, that's going to bounce away. It's going to bounce. Actually, he's kept it in play, but he's fouled. He's fouled his man down there, Inacio, and so it's a free kick to Sporting, and that is going to be it for the first half here. What a disappointing first half. That is it. There is the whistle from Danny McAlee near the boos. Boos ringing round the Tottenham stadium after a third consecutive 45 minutes. They booed here at half-time on Sunday, they booed at full-time, and they've booed at half-time tonight as well, because they're losing 1-0 to Sporting. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, you got to say, they deserve the boos, really. They've been hopeless in this first half. I mean, it's an unbelievable story. Marcus Edwards coming back to his old club, coming up with a brilliant goal, really good turn of pace to get away from Hojbjerg, and then finishing, 22 yards out past Lloris. But Sporting have been the better team. They've outplayed Tottenham. They've had the better opportunities. I suppose the only positive from Tottenham's point of view, they can't be any worse in the second half.
Well, it's a North Londoner who's the headline act at half-time. Unfortunately for Spurs, it's their former youngster, Marcus Edwards, the goal scorer. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1 at half-time.
The boos are allowed, are they? Tonight?
No, it doesn't help, does it? I mean,
just said they're understandable.
Well, just keep it to yourself. Just boo in your own heads. I mean, it doesn't help anybody, does it? It doesn't help the team. I mean, having said that, Tottenham they've been so bad, so lethargic. This is why sometimes, managers that they'd love to come out with messages, and Conte talking about fatigue. I said earlier in the half, maybe the players believe that they are fatigued and that they're tired, but they look miles off. It'll be interesting to see whether there are any changes at half-time. They haven't moved the ball quickly enough. And Sporting, who haven't been flying this season themselves, have looked far, far better. You sort of understand how Sporting are going to get up the pitch. They have patterns of play, they have combinations. We haven't seen anything from Spurs other than the occasional ball into Harry Kane, and that's when they do look dangerous.
That will be the interesting discussion, depending on what happens, is whether everything is being talked down at Tottenham. A bit like, I know the circumstances are very different, but a bit like Scott Parker at Bournemouth.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand the message. This is where you want to be as a footballer. You want to, if you're a Tottenham player, you're a Tottenham fan, you want to see your team competing at the top of the Premier League and playing Champions League football. You don't want to hear messages from the manager that we're tired. Manchester City have to get on with it. So do Liverpool. So do Chelsea year in and year out. That's the club that Tottenham are aspiring to be. That's why they hired Conte. So don't come out with these negative messages and tell us in October that the players are tired. They can have a break in a few weeks. Well, some of them
Well, no, some of them can't. You were never booed in your career, so I'm assuming if you had been booed, fans would have been doing that in their own heads.
Sarcasm is the best form of wit, then, isn't it? I mean, I was booed for various reasons, but no, I mean it's not good. In fairness to the crowd in the first half, there have been moments where they have really got behind the Tottenham team when they haven't really deserved it. It's a really worrying performance based on what's at stake. Win tonight and they're through. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them next week if they don't get back in this in Marseille.
I think it's the lowest form of wit, isn't it, sarcasm?
I've had a long day.
Yeah, we need to move on because during half-time I'm going to talk to somebody who's beaten Chris at sudden death this season, so I'm looking forward to that. There is a sporting relevance to having them on as well. Sheffield Wednesday have scored on the stroke of half-time, and in fact it is at half-time at Hillsborough now in League One. Michael Smith, who they got from Rotherham in the summer, the striker, has scored against Bristol Rovers, and they lead by 1-0. So Tottenham are losing, Liverpool are winning. Conor McNamara.
Yes, remarkable first half, really. Ajax 0, Liverpool 1. Completely different game now that I might have been telling you about. Liverpool have come within a whisker of doubling their lead. Darwin Núñez hit the post right at the end. Liverpool had just finished that first half carving through the Ajax defence at will. But earlier on, Ajax simply will not believe that they haven't scored. Berghuis hit the post right at the start of the game. Dusan Tadic was played in one-on-one. That was brilliantly saved by Alisson. Key moment of the match. But then Salah's goal, little outside of the right boot, pass into him by Jordan Henderson. Goalkeeper advancing. Salah, edge of the penalty area, could see that. Scooped it up over him. And it's that goal that separates them. Ajax 0, Liverpool 1.
Rangers 2 down at the break. Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, and both of these goals coming for Napoli from Giovanni Simeone. First of all, he was played fractionally on by Leon King as he met across from Di Lorenzo. There was no marking at all at that one. There was marking next time, 4 minutes later, but this time he got between King and Davis to net from a Mario Rui cross, which he planted perfectly beyond Alan McGregor. Tanga Ndombele came off the crossbar with a shot from just at the edge of the box. Rangers' nearest thing, indeed their only thing. Morelos 1-on-1 with Merritt in the Napoli goal, and the keeper tipped it wide for a corner kick. Napoli toying with Rangers. It's 2-0 at half-time.
From the let's round up all the other scores in the Men's Champions League this evening. Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, it's a miserable night for Barcelona, as we touched on, out at the group stage for the second successive season because of that earlier win for Inter over Victoria Pilsen. So this result against Bayern Munich tonight doesn't mean anything for them in terms of the Champions League, but it certainly should be a source of pride or something to try and build momentum. They are losing at home at the moment to Bayern Munich 2-0. The goals from Mane and Choupo-Moting. The VAR officials had a look at an incident just before half-time. Barca were hoping for a penalty, but they didn't get it. Atletico Madrid then could be the second Spanish team tonight not to make it out of the group stage. They have to win to match FC Porto's victory at Club Brugge earlier, but they are bottom of their group as it stands, not even in the Europa League places, because they are losing 2-1 at home to Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. Hudson-Odoi amongst the goal scorers there. And in Tottenham's group, Marseille would progress tonight if they win and Tottenham win. We know that's not happening at the moment for Spurs. Frankfurt are currently beating Marseille as well, 2-1 as well. So they have moved above Marseille into third behind Sporting, and then Tottenham in that group as it stands, our favourite phrase.
Most definitely. Let's go from the Men's Champions League to the Women's Champions League. Mike Williams.
Well, sometimes, Mark, the stats tell you more of a story than I could possibly do. So let me just tell you this here at Kings Meadow, where it is half-time in Chelsea's match with the Albanian champions Vllaznia. Shots, Chelsea 17, Vllaznia 0. On target, 5-0. Corners, 6-0. Possession, 80% to Chelsea. They open the scoring here before the 10-minute mark. Pernilla Harder's ball finding Sam Kerr, who smashed home from close range. Proper poacher stuff that. The Australian got her and Chelsea's second when she connected with another great cross, this time from Guru Reiten, and diverted it into the back of the Albanian net. The Norwegian Reiten was brought back into the Chelsea team this evening to make her 100th appearance for the club, and has been really impressive down this left-hand side. She was the provider again for Chelsea's third, which was scored by Pernilla Harder. I think the Chelsea goalkeeper at the other end has touched the ball a grand total of 1 time. It has been one-way traffic, as we suspected, and at half-time it is Chelsea 3, Vllaznia 0.
The other game in that group finished goalless between Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain. Elsewhere it finished St Pölten 3, Roma 4. And at half-time, Slavia Prague 0, Wolfsburg 1. There's also Women's League Cup action tonight. Everton have beaten Aston Villa on penalties. Liverpool have beaten Leicester by 4-0. They're still playing between Manchester City and Blackburn, and City lead that 3-0. And Durham have just equalised in second half stoppage time at home to Manchester United. That stands at 2-2. You're up to date with all the evening's football. It's time for the latest BBC News now with Lisa McCormick.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The head of the United Nations is warning that countries must reprioritise climate change or the world faces catastrophe. Climate experts have identified a record rise in greenhouse gas levels in the atmosphere last year. Antonio Guterres issued world leaders with a stark warning.
Climate change is the crisis of our lifetime, is the defining issue of today's world. So, climate change remains a central priority in everything we do, and climate change must be a central priority for all governments, all companies, all cities, the civil society, everywhere.
Rishi Sunak has defended his reappointment of the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, after she resigned last week over a data breach. The Prime Minister insists she made a mistake when she used her personal email account to share a sensitive document with a Tory backbencher. The pound has risen against the dollar even after the Chancellor's announcement that he was postponing his key economic statement. Jeremy Hunt will now outline his plans for the UK's finances in mid-November and produce a full autumn statement. The government says LGBT football fans won't have to compromise who they are to travel to Qatar for the World Cup, despite the Foreign Secretary seemingly suggest that they needed to be flexible. He told LBC that supporters should be respectful to the host nation. His remarks have been heavily criticised. The online furniture retailer Made.com has stopped taking new orders after talks to find a buyer failed. The company's share price fell sharply yesterday to trade at just half a pence. That's down from a peak of over £2 15 months ago. Our business correspondent is Emma Simpson.
They will source directly from manufacturers abroad, affordable sofas and velvet chairs to a computer-savvy younger audience who didn't mind buying this stuff online. But of course, they got caught up in these global supply chain problems, and that just-in-time delivery model went up the spout.
Our business correspondent Emma Simpson there.
This is 5 Live, your football station.
The UEFA Champions League.
With Mark Chapman.
As far as the British clubs are concerned, this evening Liverpool lead by a 0-0 in Amsterdam against Ajax. Rangers are 2-0 down in Naples against Napoli in that same group. And in our commentary game this evening, Tottenham 0, Sporting Lisbon 1, back with John Murray and Chris Sutton shortly. Before we head back there, let's talk Rugby League World Cup. England played Greece in their final group game on Saturday. They're already through to the quarter-finals. You can hear it on Sports Extra from 2:30. You can watch it on BBC One as well. Regular updates here on 5 Live Sport. Joe Batchelor set to make his tournament debut at the weekend, and he's with us now. Evening, Joe.
Good evening, chappers.
You must be chomping at the bit to get going, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to get in the team. I've had to sit patiently and watch them deliver 2 really good performances so far, and it's just made me want to get out there even more. So I'm delighted to be out there on Saturday.
But the important thing is to know that there are going to be places up for grabs, aren't there, Joe? You know, Sean Wayne wants to give everybody an opportunity, and very few are probably inked in for the quarterfinals. This is a squad that's all going to get its chance.
Yeah, definitely. That's something Sean mentioned to us when I wasn't picked the first 2 weeks. He said you'll get your chance, and as long as you're the best player to make England win in the quarter-final, semi-final and final, then you'll get picked. So I've got to make sure that I put my best foot forward and deliver a performance that Sean sits and takes notice of.
Has it been easy sitting there watching the first 2 performances?
It's never easy when you're not playing. However, with the tournament structure and how quick it is with the 6 weeks, I'm just glad with the results that we've had. I'm glad to be part of the squad initially, and then we've been training really well, and it is really a group effort at the moment. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but all 24 people are pulling in the same direction every week of training, so we're all on the same page with it.
And whilst they've been, I mean, the opening performance against Samoa was fantastic. The French performance was maybe a little bit up and down. Sean Wayne is never satisfied with where you're at. He wants more, doesn't he, Sean?
No, definitely. And like you said, the Samoa game was an outstanding start, I think. It was always going to be a tough act to follow against France, but France came in and had a real good dig at us and caused us some issues. We needed to be a little better in some areas, but at the same time, we put together some nice plays as well and still won by 42 points to 18. So it was still a good performance, but we're striving to win a World Cup, like you say, and Sean's thinking about World Cup final day and what is going to win World Cup final. So we need to make sure our performance is up to that level.
As I said, competition for places wherever you look, but you must look at the battle for the winger spots between Ryan Hall and Tommy Makinson and Dom Young and think you can't actually lose as a team, whatever the combination is.
No, definitely. There's three outstanding wingers there. Ryan Hall's in the top 5 try scorers all time at a World Cup. Tommy Makinson, Golden Boot winner, and Dom Young's burst on the scene and he's having a wow of a tournament. He's currently our top try scorer. So whoever plays in those two positions is going to do us no harm at all.
And I said earlier you beat Chris Sutton in a game of Sutton Death on the Fantasy Pod, but you actually lost, didn't you? Should we just gloss over that?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, Joe, I do. I want to talk about it. Hey, was it hard to focus on training for a couple of days after I skilled you, Joe?
Well, I couldn't show my face anyway.
I'm sorry. We'll give you an easy one next time. We'll get you up against Statman Dave.
Joe, we wish you well on Saturday. Thanks for coming on. Keep going. Good start. Keep going.
Cheers,
Good luck, Joe.
Thank you. Joe Batchelor with us, BBC Television Sports Extra for the final group game against Greece. They're back out. Nobody likes a gloating victor, Chris.
Oh no! I mean, Joe was a bit unlucky, but people have always thought that footballers are smarter than rugby league players, haven't they?
Football has never changed, Mark. Jermaine Genius, who's on the row in front, has just thrown a jelly baby and hit Chris on the head with it. So that's what. Well, exactly. Right, second half begins here inside the Tottenham Stadium, and Spurs have got work to do. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. In the other match in this group, Eintracht Frankfurt winning 2-1 against Marseille. So if the scores stayed as they are, Spurs would be in second place in the group, but they have to go to Marseille next Tuesday for the final match. They really have to up their game tonight, Chris. Simple as that.
Show some urgency. I mean, first half it was so poor, so slow, so lethargic. I suspect at half-time Antonio Conte would have had harsh words. Can't keep using fatigue as an excuse.
Well, no changes at the break for either team, although I think Yves Bissouma will be on before too long. But Paulinho for Sporting nicely holds off the challenge. Then the cross from Porro into the middle. Lloris comes and gets a punch on that, a diving punch, and managed to get it away good distance outside of the penalty area. Tottenham all white in the Champions League here on their home ground tonight, with the blue numbers on the back, and Sporting in an all black kit with lime green trim. And Spurs win it back inside their own half with Hojbjerg, but Son can't keep it. He's challenged, beaten to it, and Sporting come again with the goal scorer, Marcus Edwards, the former Tottenham youngster, scored a very good goal almost midway through the first half after taking the ball from the halfway line, rode a challenge from Hojbjerg, was able to take it on to, well, it was, 22, 23 yards out, and hit a pinpoint shot into the bottom corner beyond the dive to his left of Hugo Lloris. The only goal so far. And it is Sporting again who come forward with Trincao, the former Wolves man on loan from Barcelona. Harry Kane then goes down rather easily in a challenge that came in from Morita, that wins the free kick. So Spurs with Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer and Davis, the three central defenders, Doherty and Perisic, the wing-backs, Bentancur and Hojbjerg in the middle, Lucas Moura, Son and Kane are the front line. But Yves Bissouma, I mean, we thought he was going to come on at the start of the second half. He was receiving all of the instructions, but it is the same again. And it is Perisic on the left-hand side. Perisic taking on Porro, gets the ball across, goalkeeper goes for it. There was a little touch off the defender's leg, actually, at the near post, Inacio, but Adan, the keeper, was able to grab and scramble and get it.
Yeah, goes through Pedro Porro's legs across from Perisic, and Adan gets down really well, in fact. Took a deflection, smart piece of goalkeeping. No change in the way that Tottenham are playing, though. Same system. I think Sporting Lisbon have had the better of the midfield. That's where they've been so dominant in the first half.
Good header forward, though, for Tottenham from Perisic near the halfway line. Lucas Moura then heads it back. That's a misplaced header centrally from Hotspur, and as a result, Doherty had to get back and just knock the ball back into his own central defence. Sporting lead 1-0 and have been the better team by a distance, actually. And they have Adan in goal, Inacio, Coates and Mateus Reis, the three central defenders. Pedro Porro on the right, Nuno Santos on the left, Ugarte and Morita in the middle, and Marcus Edwards on the right, Trincao on the left, and Paulinho through the middle. And here he is, Paulinho, who was brought by Ruben Amorim from Braga, did very well for him at Braga, scored 25 goals one season. And this ball forward, though, gives possession back to Tottenham. And here's Son now on the left-hand side. Son, who scored in only 2 matches this season, got a hat-trick in one and 2 in another, against Leicester and Frankfurt. And now back it goes. Bentancur with a high cross towards the back post. Doherty was fouling the defender, Nuno Santos.
He does brilliantly, Nuno Santos, because Doherty has the run on him, and he just has a little look over his shoulder, and he's not the biggest Nuno Santos, but he backs in to Doherty. He just does enough with his body. Doherty can't get a clean header.
Liverpool are still winning 1-0. If you've just joined us, that would be enough to take Liverpool through into the last 16, with Napoli, who are 2-0 up on Rangers. 1-0 to Sporting here, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And Bentancur's pass is cut out by Porro, and Porro takes it away from Davis and then checks back onto his left foot, but he's all right-footed, and then in comes the challenge, and it should bounce down. Moura with a touch through the middle. Now it's been driven on by Hotspur. Kane takes it on. Kane finds the pass low to Son. Son now slips it back to Hotspur in the area on the left. Oh, goalkeeper Adan gets down, gets a hand to it, and he's a little fortunate there. He stopped it from reaching Kane, but it fell to a teammate who put it behind for a corner.
But that's when Tottenham are at their very, very best, when they are on the counter-attack, and it's Kane who eventually releases Son on the left-hand side. He tries to drive inside on his right foot, but Hotspur makes an underlap on the left-hand side of the box. The cross comes in. It's a good hand from Adan, but no takers.
Here's the corner for Tottenham, which is headed away at the near post by Coates, the captain, who returned from injury tonight. Back to Son, low cross in this time, and there's a Tottenham man down there. I think it's Eric Dyer, who stayed down on his knees. Spurs have got a throw in on the left, which they've taken quickly. Dyer's got back to his feet. In comes the ball towards the corner of the penalty area. It's blocked. Bentancur shuffling run into the penalty area, beats 2 men, pulls it across. Dyer's in there. That looks as though it might have hit a hand. Saved by the goalkeeper. Moura, low shot from Romero. Doherty with a left footer from 22 yards is over the top of the bar and behind. In the middle of that, I wonder whether that struck an arm of a defender in there. VAR will be having a look and trying to pick the bones out of that. And while they do, let's go back to Conor McNamara, who is watching the pictures from Ajax Liverpool tonight. Conor.
And Liverpool have doubled their lead. They scored just before half-time. Liverpool have scored just after half-time. This time a header from a corner for Darwin Núñez, who also scored in the 7-1 win against Rangers earlier on in this group. Ajax 0, Liverpool 2. As it stands, Liverpool going through tonight with a game to spare.
So Salah and Núñez with the goals for Liverpool, and all being well for them, that would be enough tonight to book a place in the last 16 and join Chelsea and Manchester City. Tottenham coming forward, deep ball from the left-hand side. This is much better from Tottenham now. They've lifted it. They had to, really. 1-0 down. Ball to the left-hand side. Perisic onto it, plays it back centrally to Bentancur. And now Eric Dyer. Dyer curls one right through the middle. I think that will bounce all the way through. It does, into the hoardings at the front of the south stand. And it is a goal kick for Sporting, Chris Sutton.
Where was this energy in the first half from Tottenham? Dyer was actually unlucky with the shot he had from inside the box. Smart save from Madan. And with that pass, Perisic couldn't quite get on the end of it, but that's what Tottenham needed to do. Start going through the gears and really start pushing Sporting back.
8 minutes played in the second half. But Tottenham's Champions League fate is going to be in the balance. Back to Ajax, Liverpool, because Conor McNamara.
Well, incredibly, Liverpool, having been absorbing pressure for the opening 40 minutes of this game, have now got 3 goals in 10 minutes of game time. Salah just before half-time, Núñez just after, and now Harvey Elliott getting onto a lovely through ball from Salah. The angle is tight, it's right-footed, but Elliott beats the goalkeeper at the near post. That's the pick of the goals tonight so far. Liverpool look so comfortable now in a game they started so poorly. Ajax 0, Liverpool 3.
So Liverpool on their way to the last 16, transformed the match. That's what Tottenham needs, something like that. He has Kane on the left-hand side, but it's blocked behind for a corner by Inacio, so another Tottenham corner. That pressure is beginning to build as Tottenham attack towards the huge south stand to my right. Tottenham fans in great voice now. Come on, you Spurs, is the cry coming out of there. Son takes the corner, comes off a Sporting head at the near post. The referee spotted an infringement, and it's a free kick to the visitors. And it remains 1-0 to them. Atletico Madrid 2, Bayer Leverkusen 2. So a second equaliser in the match for Diego Simeone's side. But they have to win that tonight, otherwise they cannot qualify for the last 16. Barcelona already eliminated tonight. Barcelona, who it would seem would be dropping into the Europa League, where Manchester United and Arsenal are currently operating. As Son plays it through the middle, Kane back to Son, the angle's tight, shoots, goalkeeper goes down. It's more or less straight at him, just dropped to his right, and he beat it away, the Spanish goalkeeper, and Sporting clear.
Well, you feel it's coming though for Tottenham. Quickness of passing now, no real dallying on the ball, and they're really pressing Sporting high up the pitch. No Sporting on the break here.
They have, that's the worry, because they've got that talent coming forward. And now Trincao back to Nuno Santos, and Trincao with the effort that had Tottenham hearts in mouths for a moment or two there, but it landed in the stands behind Lloris's goal.
Yeah, it's really good from Nuno Santos. He receives the ball from Trincao. Trincao makes a little diagonal run on the left-hand side of the box. Nuno Santos cushions the ball in his path, and Trincao is not far away, hammers a left-footed effort just over the bar.
Now it's Tottenham, and it's becoming rather more end-to-end this match. Certainly a greater pace to it. Perisic receives it from Son, and then Perisic's cross is intercepted by a sliding Pedro Porro for another corner to Spurs. This is the third one they've had in the second half, all from the left-hand side. So Son playing them in, and again we saw Sporting defending set pieces when they were warming up before the game, exactly as they are now, with 8 outfielders in the 6-yard box. So 8 in the 6-yard box as they defend this corner. So this is a big moment, set piece for Tottenham. Son waits to take it. Here's the delivery in to the edge of the 6-yard box, but goalkeeper Adan comes, gets an uppercut punch on that, and it bounces out of play down in front of us for a throw-in that Tottenham take quickly through Hojbjerg. Now Doherty to Bentancur. Bentancur back to Hojbjerg again, gets the ball under control and uses Lucas Moura down the line. Lucas Moura running at Nuno Santos, then angles it back to Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg's cross, that's headed away by Coates in the middle. Ball still in play, Bentancur out to the left-hand side, but it was behind Son and he had to make ground back to keep possession for Tottenham. Now this time they try it more centrally. Hotspur through to Kane, 25 yards out. Kane trying to battle his way through. Black shirts on the edge of the penalty area. It's worked back to Doherty. Doherty though with a heavy touch. Morita plays it out to the right-hand side, gives it to Moura. Moura running at Nuno Santos, who got the tackle in, got a foot on the ball, and then again with a follow-up challenge from the left wing back to put it out for a throw to Spurs down the right. They've got the ball immediately from the ball boy, back in play. Spurs sense here that they have got Sporting not exactly where they want them, but they've got them under pressure. Son playing the ball in from the left. It's a diving header away by Coates, and it comes out for Ben Davies, who hits a shot, a dropping volley. That's blocked outside the penalty area. Ruben Amorim down there, the Sporting coach, looks a little concerned. Another wave of Tottenham pressure begins. Moura with a cross. Son gets up with a header, hits a defender, shouts for handball, but vainly, I think. And Sporting are able to clear it away to the halfway line. So still, the Portuguese side lead by 1-0. Let's go back to the Women's Champions League. More on Chelsea. Mike Williams.
The home side's dominance continuing here, John. They lead Vlasnia by 4-0 now. Their captain, Magda Eriksson, bundling in from a corner. There was a sea of blue shirts. 3 or 4 of them could have claimed it, but it was Eriksson who scored. The Albanian keeper all at sea. Chelsea 4, Vlasnia 0.
This time a weaving run by Moura into the penalty area on the right-hand side, but pulled his shot weakly well wide beyond the far post. Goal kick.
Yeah, and in this second half, Moura actually has been more direct and is getting the ball and driving Nuno Santos. He has done the last couple of moments. He's unlucky there, just pulls, I think it was a shot just past the far post, but Sporting Lisbon hanging on in there at this moment in time. That's all Tottenham.
And Morita has sat down, actually, the Japanese midfielder, so I think quite wisely, quite shrewd. The experienced Japanese international, who, all being well, will be at the World Cup, which begins 3 weeks on Sunday. As ever after this match, Champions League night, you'll hear all of the analysis on what happens. Looks like Liverpool are on their way through to the last 16. Tottenham, we just don't know. It looks like it might be going to next week. But the 5 Live Football Daily, you can download, subscribe for free from BBC Sounds. And just to tip you the wink, when it comes to World Cup time, the 5 Live Football Daily will become the 5 Live World Cup Daily. And we will have commentary, live commentary on all 64 matches, either on 5 Live, Sports Extra, on the World Service, and you can hear it all wherever it happens via BBC Sounds. Morita has got to his feet, he's having to leave the field. And actually they're going to make a change,
yeah,
so that is it for Morita. So he's being replaced. Now this is an interesting one. It's the 18-year-old. It is, yeah, the 18-year-old Mateus Fernandes who's coming on.
Making 2 subs here, aren't they? Yeah.
So Morita is coming off, and also, well, I haven't seen the board for the other players. So Nazinho is coming on. And it is actually going to be a straight swap. Nuno Santos making way for Flavio Nazinho. A name like that, he should be on the stage, shouldn't he? He should be in the clubs. Flavio Nazinho. So double change for Ruben Amorim, just feeling that the tide had turned against his team, but they still lead 1-0. And now Tottenham come again, and Lucas Moura receives it from Romero, and his left-footed cross to the back post is chested up back to his goalkeeper by Pedro Porro.
Yeah, really composed. Pedro Porro. I think Perisic could have attacked that back post with far more urgency there. Lucas Moura coming into this game now, though, looking a threat. Didn't look a threat in that first half. His confidence building, hence why maybe the Sporting change.
Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. Back to the Women's Champions League group match. Mike Williams.
Chelsea 5, Vlasnia 0. Sam Kerr with another one, a lovely through ball, finding the Australian, who finished very coolly. And a correction, John, has just been given over the PA system here, awarding the 4th goal to Kerr as well. I said it was a goal-mouth scramble. It's been given to Kerr. She now has 4, Chelsea have 5, and surely the victory in the bag.
Yep, 2 wins out of 2 for Chelsea in that group. Still Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bristol Rovers 0, last we heard. Ball played through to Son inside the penalty area. Went down rather easily from the challenge that came in on him, and referee not interested. Now Hotspur plays it through to Son. There's no flag yet. Son to the byline, tries to work it across. That's blocked, and then eventually the offside flag comes, and it's a free kick.
Got to say, that's a very late flag. I think he was well offside as the ball was played through, but he was a couple of yards offside, and also threw himself down, John. That's another one for the simulation game inside the box.
Well, there was the slightest of. I think he might have felt Inacio's fingertips on his ribs, and he went down.
There was very little contact. He is so much better than that.
He will be featuring, I think, on Sunday night on 606. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. And Sporting, there is always that threat of Edwards, Paulinho and Trincao. As Tottenham take the game to Sporting, they do open themselves up at the back. Ball forward from Davis, but Sporting send it forward. Here's Trincao. Back to the youngster, the teenager, Mateus Fernandes. They are like a conveyor belt, aren't they? The Portuguese talent that comes through wave after wave. Now they have it on the right-hand side. And it's won back illegally by Bentancur. That is a foul on Inacio.
What a strange performance from Tottenham, though. It's like the first half was a warm-up, and they're just getting ready, and they've exploded in this second half, haven't they?
Now here they come again. Lucas Moura, who is markedly better, but he loses possession, and Trincao will bring it forward for Sporting. Back it goes to the halfway line to Ugarte, and from him to Coates. 25 minutes to go. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1, and Eintracht Frankfurt still lead Marseille by 2 goals to 1 in the other match in this group. So with these scorelines, it will be all going down to the final night in this group to decide who goes through. Liverpool are on their way to the last 16. They're winning 3-0 in Amsterdam against Ajax. Salah, Nunez and Elliott, the goal scorers. Rangers still 2-0 down to Napoli, and will still be looking for their first point back in the group stage of the Champions League. Spurs with Bentancur through to Kane. Kane flicks it forward to Bentancur, won't get there. It's been left for goalkeeper Adan to come out and pick up near the edge of the penalty area. Underarms it out to his left to Matthias Reich. And then Mateus Fernandes has a little scurry forward. Oh, Romero. The ball had run free, and Romero went in very strong on the challenge on Paulinho. He took the ball, but he got some of Paulinho as well, and the Sporting players have reacted, and there's a little bit of pushing and shoving, not much more than that, between the several of the players from both sides near the halfway line, and the referee has given the free kick. He took it cleanly. Paulinho, fortunately, jumped out of the way. He saw Romero coming, and so he was off the ground when Paulinho came in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really aggressive challenge from Romero. He does get the ball. Where was this aggression in the first half from Tottenham? Credit Sporting. They're not just lumping the ball up the pitch. They're trying to play out, and they beat the Tottenham press in that situation. I think the referee quite right to bring
yellow card
play back
for Romero. I think that was the force of the challenge, wasn't it? I mean, listen, there were times in the past where that would have just been accepted as being a fine tackle, but with the force of the way that he came in, that's why he's received the yellow card.
He's gone all in on that, but I think that's harsh. He's won the ball. Paulinho got out of the way. What's the problem?
Bristol Rovers have equalised at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bristol Rovers 1. Coburn making it all square in League One. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. Going to get another update on Rangers' progress in a moment, but Spurs play the ball forward towards Son, who is challenged and beaten by Pedro Porro, but that's a foul, and Son has won the free kick inside his own half, so that means we can get an update on Napoli Rangers from Roddy Forsyth.
65 minutes gone, Napoli 2, Rangers 0. These 2 goals being scored by Giovanni Simeone within the space of 4 first half minutes. Tongoy Dembele hit the crossbar. Simeone looking for his hat-tricks. They made McGregor make a save with his foot for a corner kick, but other than that, Napoli have been cruising through this second half. It's still Napoli 2, Rangers 0.
And more T20 World Cup commentary in the early hours on Sports Extra from 3:45. South Africa against Bangladesh, then Netherlands against India after the exciting events of this morning. Here is Romero playing the ball forward for Højbjerg on the right. Højbjerg, first time touch from Doherty. Lucas Moura with a cross, but that hit the defender, Matheus Reis, and was cleared away by Sporting, although Matheus Fernandes got his feet mixed up and couldn't keep the ball in. And now Lucas Moura to the byline, but struggled to get there before the ball went over the line. Actually did work it across, but Sporting were able to clear. It's going to be a double change for Spurs. Brian Hill is going to come on, and so is Ryan Sessegnon. So a double change, but no Bissouma yet, strangely, who seemed ready to come on. I don't know whether that was maybe going to be a Lucas Moura change, Chris, and that perhaps Antonio Conte said to Lucas Moura, you've got 10 minutes to show us what you can do, but he has done.
No, absolutely has livened up in the second half.
Perisic on the left for Tottenham, deep cross to the back post, Doherty takes it down and shoots, and the goalkeeper saves it with an arm down to his left. And actually there were a couple of players down in the penalty area, defender and Lucas Moura, but important save. Højbjerg now takes it on into the box to the byline and wins a corner. And Højbjerg and Matheus Reis are having a go at one another there. I'm not sure what that was about. It's a corner though to Spurs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a brilliant save, an unusual save from Dan at his near post, who committed himself to his right-hand side, got down.
Here's the corner, then to the back post. Adan comes and he catches it at the back post. Well, again, not what you would consider to be how goalkeepers deal with that type of ball, as he overarms it out. Bentancur challenges for it. He's fouled, and it's a free kick to Tottenham, 15 yards inside the Sporting half, and now we're going to have all of these changes. So Tottenham are going to make 2 and Sporting are going to make 2 more. Doherty's coming off, having just seen his effort saved. Brian Hill coming on for him, and Ben Davis off as well. So this is going to be quite a rejig, Chris. Sessegnon coming on. And also Trincao is coming off. Arta Gomez is coming on, who scored the second goal against Spurs when Sporting won 2-0 in Lisbon. And the other change sees it is Fatawu coming on, and Marcus Edwards, the goal scorer, is off. So Fatawu Isaku is on, the Ghanaian international, the number 18. So Marcus Edwards, we'll get a word from Chris on his night. But first, Hill, his first involvement, left-footed cross into the penalty area, but that's over everyone and behind for a goal kick. So he'd gone quiet, Marcus Edwards, in the match, Chris, but what a night it has been and could prove to be for the young former Tottenham man.
Yeah, what a night, what a huge goal he may have scored for Sporting Lisbon, if they can hold on against his former club. In the second half, though, he's been pretty ineffective as a Trincao, so maybe just a fresh pair of legs to try and see this one through.
Marcus Edwards just making his way actually round behind, in front of the south stand at the moment. How different things could have been for him in his career, but what a night, scoring the only goal so far. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. And just in terms of
Tottenham didn't make the Sessegnon substitution. I don't think Davies has stayed on. Sessegnon is still warming up, which threw me for a second.
Well, that's all. Well, it completely threw me. I mean, the board was up, and Sessegnon seemed to be coming onto the field, so Davis is still on the pitch. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. Ball into Son on the edge of the box, rides the challenge from Cortez, but then loses out to Mateus Fernandes, who right foot, then left foot, then right foot is able to work it away. Spurs continue to pile the pressure on, but still trailing to that first half goal. Hojbjerg back centrally. Liverpool winning 3-0, Rangers losing 2-0. Spurs going back to Hojbjerg again. And Hojbjerg to Lucas Moura on the right-hand side. Brian Hill makes a run forward. Moura, fortunate, gets a lucky break of the ball that bounces to Hill on the right-hand side. Then back to Lucas Moura again, and the Brazilian crosses it, took a deflection. Goalkeeper Kane went back, was headed away by Matthias Reich, and then cleared further away and out of play for a throw-in to Spurs, who are camped in the Sporting half now.
Yeah, Sporting hanging on in there, showing a great deal of resilience, but you feel it's coming for Tottenham. So much pressure in the second half.
Romero has stayed up, the central defender. He's there on the edge of the penalty area. And now Perisic down the left-hand side with a cross, very, very deep to the back post. Lucas Moura heads it back across, and the goalkeeper, Adan, just tips it over, just to make absolutely certain. Just rather daintily patted it over the crossbar for a corner.
Yeah, and Heel is playing an inside forward, and Lucas Moura more or less the wing-back, but Tottenham haven't had much defending to do.
More or less. Very good. Corner from the left-hand side for Spurs. Again, we see that packed 6-yard box. Son plays it in, curling, headed to the near post by Dyer, and it landed on the roof of the Sporting net.
It's a great ball in, and brilliant movement at the near post from Eric Dyer. Just gets in between two Sporting defenders, pace on the ball, just trying to glance it and loop it into that far corner. Dan was rooted, looked like he was beaten. It landed on the roof of the net.
Sporting making another change, and this time it is Paulinho who is off, and Jeremiah St. Just, who's also a bit like Sebastian Coates, just coming back from injury. He's been out with a hamstring problem, the Dutchman, central defender. So Paulinho, the centre forward, goes off and a central defender comes on. I think that tells its own story. Spurs with the ball halfway inside their own half. Time running out, actually, Chris. 15 minutes left to play. And still, Spurs on this night, if they win this match, Spurs, they will be through to the last 16. But they've been knocking and knocking on the door and they can't get through. And goalkeeper Antonio Adan, who can be erratic, is having quite a good night. Ball played.
Give him time. Had a strange evening, hasn't he?
You have your doubts about him. Well, it is though. Sporting coming forward, and the ball is played through, and this could be the chance for Sporting to win it, but no! The save is made by Lloris, diving to his left to keep out Flavio Nazinho. Right foot shot from a slight angle, but it was close enough to Lloris to be able to push it away to his left and behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's a brilliant run from the left-hand side in behind. Lucas Moura was, who tries to get back, and Lloris, big save down to his left. That's the danger, isn't it? The counter-attack.
It is. Sporting rode on by their thousands of supporters in green and white in that corner. In comes the corner, headed away by Ben Davies, still on the field as the eagle-eyed Chris Sutton spotted. And it's now Chelsea 6, Vlasnia 0. Pernilla Harder with the latest goal. So Kerr scored 4 and Harder scored 2. 6-0 to Chelsea in their group match in the Women's Champions League tonight. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1, but Sporting come again into the penalty area. Shot from the angle, Lloris makes the save, and no, Nazinho shoots wide from 12 yards out, hands to his face. He knows there he had an even bigger chance to finish this off for Sporting and didn't take it.
Yeah, what a pass this is from Artur Gomez into Pedro Porro. Angle against him, fires a right foot shot. Lloris puts it back. into a perfect area for Nazinho, really.
Spurs coming forward at the other end, but the covering challenge is there in his own box from Mateus Fernandes. Corner Tottenham.
But was that the moment where Spurs gotten themselves a little bit lucky, because that was a huge opportunity?
Well,
Sporting
Chris,
should be out of sight.
We'll find out the answer to that in the next 20 minutes. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1. Corner then for Spurs. Again, Son swings it in, and this one is headed up and away by Mateus Reis. Comes back to Son. He whips another one over, but too close to Adan. Secure, safe hands at the Sporting goalkeeper. Takes it down into his chest and will overarm it out to the left-hand side of the ground.
And that sums him up, because the last couple of times he has had safe hands, is then thrown the ball straight to a Tottenham player.
So in this group it is as it was at half-time. Tottenham 0, Sporting 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 2, Marseille 1. So that means that Sporting would be top of the group tonight, then Tottenham in second, Frankfurt in third and Marseille in fourth. But there would still be only 3 points between the four sides. Certainly this is the group to follow in the group stage this season. Chelsea 7, Vlasnia 0 in the Women's Champions League. Spurs going to make another change, and Clement Longley is waiting to come on, but not yet. Throwing for Spurs near the halfway line. Just over 10 minutes to play. And Spurs facing what would be a third consecutive defeat in all competitions, and a second consecutive home defeat after the 10 wins in a row here. Lucas Moura on the right-hand side. Lucas Moura, crossfield pass from him. Hits it onto the right instep of Perisic. Onto his left. Cross from him. Hits Brian Hill at the far post. He turns and gets the shot in, but it comes off the defender. Mateus Fernandes. It's a Tottenham corner, this time from the right-hand side. This is their 7th corner of the second half. But still, that Sporting goal remains intact. Sporting beat Tottenham 2-0 in Lisbon earlier in the group, now winning 1-0 here in London. Corner to be taken by Perisic from the right-hand side. Left-footed, here's the delivery. Adan comes and it's headed down again! Goalkeeper didn't get there! Benton Cour did, and Spurs have found the equaliser. The goalkeeper complains. Adan said he was blocked. The referee's having none of it. It's Tottenham 1, Sporting 1.
Yeah, I didn't think you could trust Adan. And they have a row of 8 players. They were practicing it pre-game, weren't they? 8 players in the 6-yard box, but when the goalkeeper came, it's a floated left-footed in-swinger. It's hopeless goalkeeping. Bentancur gets up brilliantly. He really does leaps. And then just nods the ball in. Adan has come for it. He's flapping. He's claiming there's a foul. Absolutely no foul. Bentancur strong. Adan wasn't. I think Spurs has deserved this with their second half performance.
Well, that was flimsy goalkeeping by Antonio Adan. Bentancur towered over him. You know, the goalkeeper can use his arms, and Bentancur got his head to the ball way above the goalkeeper. He was just falling to the ground.
It was a really great leap. Got up early, Bentancur, but you've got to expect better from your goalkeeper. That ball's travelled a fair distance. He doesn't judge the flight. Bentancur does. And then we've got an interesting last 9 or 10 minutes.
And Longley has come on to replace Ben Davies, so he is now off the field, Chris. Tottenham 1, Sporting 1. A scoreline that still would not be enough for Tottenham to clinch their place in the last 16 yet. But Frankfurt still winning 2-1 against Marseille. So Tottenham would be top of the group going into the final match next week with this scoreline. As the ball is played across, free kick on the right-hand side for Sporting. What about those misses by Nazinho as well, incidentally? The two of them. Long ball downfield, defenders put under pressure. It's just walloped away down into the full-back position by Ugarte, and Spurs have not got a throw-in down next to the corner flag. And Lucas Moura is off, and Emerson Royal has come on. So that is it for Lucas Moura. Big improvement in the second half from him on his first start of the season.
Absolutely, but you're right to bring up the miss from Nazinho, because that was such an easy opportunity. And they've been a long way back for Tottenham then.
Tottenham 1, Sporting 1. Thank you very much. I hope you're praising me as much in the morning when I'm playing sudden death on the Fantasy 606 podcast that we're recording.
You won't sleep tonight, John.
Be a difficult night. Big pressure. Tottenham playing the ball for Hill, and Hill now gets away from the challenge that comes in on him from Ugarte, who's going to be yellow carded for that, just bringing Hill down. Tottenham want to take this free kick quickly, which they wanted to do, but Emerson Royal passed it to Hill, and the referee's saying, hang on a minute, I'm still in the middle of booking Manuel Ugarte. So there'll just be a little delay before Tottenham take this free kick. Remember, if you just switched on, Spurs have piled pressure on Spurs. I mean, it's been like night and day, the performance, Spurs in the first half to the second. But now they feel they've got the momentum. There are 7 minutes left, and if Spurs get a second goal and win this game, then that will clinch them a place in the last 16, beyond Christmas, beyond the World Cup. So Son to take this from the right. Antonio Conte is way out of his coaching area, walking down the line. Here's Son then to deliver it in. Oh, lovely delivery, which is headed away beyond the far post by Eric Dyer, who ends up in the net himself, punching the turf. Goal kick to Sporting. More on this from Chris Sutton in a moment, but first, Roddy Forsyth has the latest on Napoli Rangers.
And Napoli have gone 3 ahead. Rangers have been vulnerable to corner kicks in this competition. We saw it against PSV, we saw it against Liverpool, and yet again this time when Leo Østigård had a free header from a corner to make it Napoli 3, Rangers 0, 9 to go.
Oh, Tottenham are in all sorts of trouble at the back. Lloris coming out of his goal. He's been beaten by Artur Gomez on the right-hand side, who gets the crossover, but the referee says there's an offside flag.
What's he doing?
Lloris. He came way out of his goal. Artur Gomez.
Yeah, I think there was an initial offside. They've taken it back, but Lloris, terrible judgment. We saw some awful judgment from him at the weekend. And Tottenham get away with it.
Yeah, and ball played through by Bentancur, but that's cut out. Very nearly fell into the path of Harry Kane. Ended up with quite an exciting game, Chris.
We haven't even spoken about the Eric Dyer chance from the free kick. Banged his fist to the turf. He knew he should have scored. Great ball in from Son on that right-hand side. Pace on the ball. Just had to get it on target. Didn't have to do much, but not enough of a touch.
Spurs coming with Brian Hale, and Hale does well under pressure. Plays the ball to Harry Kane. Kane in the box. Then runs into 2 Sporting players. The ball bounces between them and actually bounces back to Harry Kane, who gives it to Emerson Royal. Emerson Royal slips it to Kane in the box, very tight in there, tries to find a way through 3 Sporting players. Emerson Royal throws himself down inside the penalty area. They're shouting for a penalty, no chance. Hill with a cross from the left, and that's caught by Adan rather smartly under no particular pressure. 1-1.
And Paul from Emerson Royal gonna buy the penalty. Another one there, another dive, John.
Tottenham are going to have their own edition of the simulation game on Sunday night. A Spurs special, and they've won it on a number of occasions, haven't they? Here is Hill now again in the centre circle. Hill, hair flowing behind him as he runs and plays the ball to the right-hand side to Emerson Royal, and Emerson Royal takes it down the right-hand side, hits the cross in, but that's blocked and then whacked away by Flavio Nazinho, who is operating as the left wing back now. Nazinho. Spurs come again. 3.5 minutes to go. The place will go mad if Tottenham get a second goal. Emerson Royal receives on the right. Oh, that's an awful ball. Hill overhit through goal kick. He's not the most popular, Emerson Royal, and he hasn't endeared himself to the locals any further with that.
Well, the interesting thing about the pass is it's one of those one of those passes where he looks the other way. He should have actually looked at the ball, because if you overweighted a pass on a Sunday morning pub pitch, John, you'd be taken off for that.
Tottenham 1, Sporting 1. Harry Kane volleys the ball forward for an angle. Son is just beaten to it by Jerry Saint-Just, and it's out of play for a throw-in down the left-hand side for Spurs.
They're hanging on now, Sporting, aren't they? The clearance of a moment ago from Nazinho, that was sheer panic. Anywhere will do.
Yeah, Saint-Just put it out of play. Now Tottenham take the throw on the left-hand side. Perisic, lovely turn, left-footed cross, that's gone all the way into the other full-back position to Hill. And Brian Hill now drops a shoulder, left-footed ball in, that's headed away by Matheus Reis. And Sporting now are really hanging on for this point. That would keep them right in it as well. Sporting take them to 7 points. Eintracht Frankfurt still winning against Marseille. Here's Perisic down the left-hand side, but Pedro Porro puts in the challenge, goes to ground, puts it out, throwing down the left-hand side. Pernilla Harder scored a hat-trick, so Sam Kerr with 4, Pernilla Harder with 3, Chelsea 8, the Albanians of Vlasnia 0. Throw in for Spurs, 10 yards back from the corner flag. 5 Live Sport on air till 10:30 tonight before Colin Murray. Ball into the penalty area, headed on by Emerson Royal, headed up and away by Coates, headed further away on the edge of the box by Mateus Fernandes, and then headed out of play for a throw into Spurs. Just over a minute of the 90 to play. They might run out of time, Tottenham. Searching for the win that would take them into the last 16. Spurs from the left, down with a header, right across the face of goal. I did wonder, though, whether the ball might have been out of play before it was cut back by Perisic, but in any case, Dyer headed wide.
Oh, Conte tearing his hair out there. Dyer just drifted forward from the back, arrived into the box. I don't think the ball was out of play, and the ball is stood up to Dyer. He's 6 yards out, has to direct it on target, and somehow misses the target. That's 2 big chances he's missed in the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Against the club where he grew up, Eric Dyer. What opportunity, so close. Still 1-1. Long ball over the top for Sporting. This could be trouble. Low shot is saved very well by Lloris. The effort that came in from 25 yards plus from Fatawu Isaku, the Ghanaian international, and Lloris had to be sharp.
Yeah, he had to be alert. It's a long way out on the half turn, 25 yards out. Lloris down to his right-hand side, around the post. Can Sporting conjure up something from this corner?
What a dramatic night it's turned into. Corner for Sporting to the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Emerson Royal. Spurs get it to Hill, but Hill's beaten in the air. Bounces back for Sporting. Now Nazinho, but he loses out. And Højbjerg on the halfway line. 5 minutes of added time. Højbjerg plays it long and forward for Son. Son tangling with
he was offside.
Jerry Saint-Just.
He was offside, but Son was initially. And then the flag went up a few seconds late. Frustrates players, that does.
Free kick then for Sporting. Still Eintracht Frankfurt 2-1 up on Marseille, and Liverpool safely on the way through to the last 16. 3-0 up in Amsterdam against Ajax. Salah, Nunez and Elliott. We'll have more on that later. But with the scores as they are, Tottenham would have 8 points, Sporting 7, Frankfurt 7 and Marseille 6 going into those final round of matches. That could completely turn around again next week, he said, stating the bleeding obvious. Here's Matheus Reis playing it infield, and Spurs win it back. Good work from Bentancur, and now Hill to Son, and Son, a lovely little change of feet, a left foot shot, goalkeeper saves it, comes out to Hill, defenders are back now, it's laid back to Bentancur, who leaning back, hits the shot over the top corner.
Where was this press? Where was this aggression in the first half? I think it's Bentancur who initially wins the ball, and Son, clever little step over, 22 yards out, fires a shot, smart save from Adan down to his left-hand side, and Hill and Bentancur get in each other's way initially. Hill picks the ball up and feeds it back to Bentancur, and he's leaning back, balloons it over the bar. Just a bit of composure at that time, but he lost it.
I'm not sure that this atmosphere here is particularly conducive to a bit of composure. It's been a terrific second half, and Sporting haven't given this up yet, but that's a foul. That is a foul, a shove over there on the far side, and it's a free
more
kick.
More of a nudge, John, than a shove.
Romero winning the free kick, and Tottenham playing it to the halfway line, deep into the 5 minutes of added time now. We are now in the 4th minute of those 5. Hill slips as he hits a long crossfield pass to Perisic, who gets it down on the left, and Perisic does clip it across. Kane was in the middle, but that was headed away by Inacio. Comes out again for Tottenham as they sweep forward from left to right. Longley has gone up. There are plenty of bodies in white. Bentancur with a cross, but that one's headed up and away by Inacio again. Comes out for Bentancur, the Tottenham goal scorer. Emerson Royal, I think that should have been a free kick. It was, yeah. He kicked Nazinho, missed the ball, kicked Nazinho, and it's a free kick to Sporting.
It is, and there will be no rush from Sporting to take this.
Sporting, who next week, Sporting are at home to Eintracht Frankfurt.
Who they walloped, didn't they, in the first game?
Yeah, they won 3-0 in Germany. The first time Sporting had ever won a match in Germany in any competition. Tottenham 1, Sporting 1 is the score here. We're in the 5th minute now of added time. Just a matter of seconds left in the match. And Tottenham have had so much pressure, but Sporting, don't forget, have had chances to finish it off. And actually, they might not be finished yet. It's Sporting who are coming forward in the closing moments. And the shot is wild from the angle by Pedro Porro, who pulls up the front of his shirt and shows us, mildly interestingly, that the inside of the shirt's a lime green. Black on the outside, lime green on the inside. Like those sweets. Here's Tottenham with the ball down the left-hand side. Perisic crossing, no, delays it. He's on his right foot now. Here's the cross. This will be the last attack of the game. Emerson Royal is there. Kane is there! Harry Kane in the 6-yard box to win it dramatically in the final minute of added time. What a finale! Antonio Conte throws himself into the celebrations with his players. Harry Kane does it. Tottenham will win it, and this will clinch Tottenham's place in the last 16. They won't have to get anything in Marseille last week. Next week, they'll be going through. What a way to do it. Harry Kane's done it. Tottenham 2, Sporting 1.
Wild celebrations. Tottenham have been brilliant in the second half. And it's just a hopeful ball in the left-hand side. I think from Perisic. And Royal drifts in at the back post. He's onside. Harry Kane is behind him, but it comes off a Sporting defender into Harry Kane's path. What is 2-3 yards out? A bit of work to do. He hooks it past her down into the far corner. What a turnaround.
Well, the VAR are having a look at this. They're looking for a possible offside leading up to the goal. And I don't know whether the initial pass, whether that might be what they're looking at.
Well, Royal definitely wasn't offside.
Well, there we are. And when he headed the ball back, he was ahead of Kane. He actually headed the ball back to Kane, hit a defender, fell into Kane's path in the 6-yard box. Referee Danny McAlee is speaking to a couple of the Tottenham players. 3 of the Sporting players are gathered around.
Just seeing the
question is,
I think they're asking for a handball in there.
And now
somewhere Ugarte is gesturing to the referee. There was a handball.
Well, the check is still for an offside. That's what it says on the screen down in front of us here. And I see Hotspur and Matthias Reich almost went head-to-head there. The Portuguese, Ruben Amorim and his coaching staff are saying, come on, get it ruled out. So at the moment, we're waiting to find out whether this Harry Kane goal stands. Tottenham would win the match 2-1 if it stands. This is a long check.
Yes, and the longer it goes,
the more you think,
the more uncertainty
that this could be ruled out. I mean, this is dramatic. Say what you like about VAR. This is a moment of great drama here. Just wish it could be done a little faster, that's all. But they want to get it right.
Ugarte keeps gesturing to the referee with his arm like there was a handball in there somewhere.
Well, according to the screen, they're not looking at that. They're looking at offside. This screen down in front of us, checking for potential offside leading up to goal. Referee still waiting for the decision.
I thought Royal was onside. I mean, he looked like he just drifted in. Harry Kane, it was, tight, but I thought he was level, if not behind Emerson Royal.
Still we wait. Still we're waiting to find out. And the referee says the goal is ruled out.
Ow!
Well, they must feel that Kane maybe had a foot ahead of Emerson Royal when he headed it back across.
Conte is going berserk.
He's now, he is on a red card. He's been sent off. Red card for Antonio Conte for something he said to the fourth official after that. And the fourth official has immediately told Danny McAleese.
He's still going, Conte. He's got to be careful. He's been sent off.
He's got to leave the field. So the score remains Tottenham 1, Sporting 1. We are now seeing the lines.
Honestly, how can... if you look at the lines, it's impossible to describe from that picture. But Royal looks... He wasn't the one offside, right?
No, Kane.
Kane was offside, but
Kane
Royal looks like he's heading it back.
But Kane must have had a foot beyond him. That must. I mean, we've seen that for a millisecond. They showed us the lines on the screen, and now they've gone. But I think that must be how it was. That Kane just had a foot beyond Emerson Royal when he seemingly headed it back, then took a deflection into Kane's path, who buried it on the volley.
An offside isn't subjective, is it?
Nope. Not in the opinion of Antonio Conte, who's marched away down the tunnel. He's been sent off for the second time this season, incidentally, Antonio Conte. And there it is, there's the final whistle. And it's finished, Tottenham 1, Sporting 1, and it's all up for grabs next Tuesday when Tottenham go to Marseille. And Tottenham, they go to the referee. They're all, Harry Kane is there, Son is there, Doherty, and Christian Romero, and long will the complaints go on about that decision. But VAR's decision is final. It's finished 1-1, and Tottenham will have to go to the south of France next Tuesday and get a result to get through to the last 16.
Yeah, Tottenham still in the mix, but Antonio Conte clearly incensed because he thought it was a perfectly good goal. So did the Tottenham players. I've got to say, so did I. But the longer it went on the VAR check, you're thinking, blimey, this could go against Tottenham. But the second half display, John, was absolutely brilliant from Tottenham. The question Conte should be asking of his players, where was that display in the first half? They started too slowly. Went a goal behind, Edwards coming back to haunt Tottenham. But second half, Tottenham were excellent. But that decision, this is going to rumble on, I suspect. But that leaves Tottenham with work to do in the Champions League.
Yeah, Tottenham top of the group, 8 points, Sporting 7 points, Frankfurt 7 points, Marseille 6. But that could all turn around next week, so join us for that next week. But what a remarkable game this was. Remarkable. Tottenham 1, Sporting 1, not Tottenham 2, Sporting 1, as it says on my sheet in front of me.